Hey everyone, we're here with Daniel from Arch Enemy. I'm not gonna say if you don't know him, you should check them out because I'm pretty sure you fucking know them. They're badass. Uh, Daniel, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out and chat with me.
Thank you very much.
So, we kind of just chatted about the big tour, Fit for an Autopsy and all of that good stuff. With you guys coming to the States for that run, is there a uh, town that you're really looking forward to hitting because it just, I don't know, has a better vibe or you like the food there or whatever?
A good question. I mean, at this point, by the time we hit that tour, it's going to be I think 3 years until or since the last tour. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to like reconnecting with all the fans and every city in the US, as far as I'm concerned, is a cool place to hang out. I always have a good time touring in the US. Sorry, it's a bit windy here, but all right.
Yeah, I think, it's funny. I think a lot of the American bands want to be over in Europe, and a lot of like the bands outside of the States want to, come and play the States. It I feel like it's one of those like, well, we're not from there. Let's go there. Let
Right.
let's go check
I
it
mean,
out.
I enjoy touring pretty much everywhere. But I mean, the US, as far as just like everything around the shows, like the Walmarts and the gas stations and stuff like that, I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy the Walmarts too, because you never know what you're going to see in there.
Especially
Yeah.
at 4 in the morning, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, where I'm at anyway, a lot of the places that stayed open all night are shutting down at like 11 or 12. So there's no like 3 a.m. Walmart trips where you're like, oh, he's on a lot of somethings.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of it though, I guess. So the new album, you guys got a new album coming out, what, March 28th on Century Media, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And you just had Paper Tigers come out, the single. The album is Blood Dynasty for those of you that are curious. You know, with Blood Dynasty, well, it's been just over like 2 years since the last album. What was the writing process like with that?
Um, the actual process putting those songs together was pretty similar to Deceivers and Will to Power as well. I think we found a way to like with songwriting, basically, we found a way to put songs together that works really well. And usually, it's Michael is the main songwriter of the band, and I write a bit as well of the music, and we just you know we sit down somewhere together and we put our ideas together, create some demos, and basically just work with the demos for a while. Uh, we always start out with the musical side of things, and the lyrics, as far as I know, they come always later at later points. Um, I feel like the lyrics are kind of it depends on the vibe of the music. When you write the
Yeah.
lyrics, what kind of vibe do you get? What do you want to write about? So
Yeah,
that was the process this time around.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to I think some bands or not even some bands, but some people do start with like a lyric and build music based off of that and other bands obviously like you guys start with the music and then the lyrics kind of fill out the song as that last instrument, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, Alyssa, she's got such a powerful voice, but to like really fill out the musicianship of the band is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she's very versatile as well. And she can pretty much do it all, which is super cool when you imagine the possibilities of songwriting. Like
Yeah.
we, uh, yeah, and she shows it off quite a bit on the new album, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm with everyone else. So far I've only heard the four singles off of it, but I'm impressed. Liars and Thieves, what a tremendous, tremendous song that is.
Cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, that's really nice to hear. Like, it's always the same thing, like releasing an album, because once you get to the point where you get to do some interviews, by that time we've been working on this album for a year or 2 years, so you get pretty deep into the process, and it's very easy to lose like an
Perspective.
objective, perspective, yeah, of if the songs are any good. So it's really cool to hear people's reactions,
Yeah.
unless they're like trolling on YouTube.
Which which is it's so common anymore. You're like, I think that's a solid song, and someone's like, my butthole could do better on the toilet. You're like, what are you talking about? What's going on over here?
Yeah.
It's so funny. They are too. Like the internet's so good for trolling trolls. Uh, with Blood Dynasty coming out, do you have any like goals or thresholds that you would like to see it like meet or glass ceilings to break?
Mm, I think that we are kind of fortunate to be in a position where we're like 30 years into this thing, and the band is somehow still maintaining momentum, and we're growing a little bit.
Yeah,
And if we can continue that, yeah, that would be great. Like, but I mean, I'm not the one to decide that. We can just like write the best material that we can possibly come up with, and if we can maintain the upward motion, that'll be good. But if it doesn't happen as well, I'm not too worried about that. I think we know what it's like to play on pretty much every level. If you consider like a touring activities, we just did a tour with In Flames, and
yeah,
started work in Europe, and we played to, sometimes it was up to like 10,000 people a night. So we've been at that level, and we've also been at the very opposite end of that, playing too.
10 people.
Yeah, yeah. Take a few
Yeah,
numbers up.
right. Yeah, it's awesome from a fan's perspective to see a band that gets out there and starts doing what they want to do, regardless of where it's going to take them, and see them get to the level where they're playing in front of, 10,000 people. And, even sometimes at some of those larger festivals, 100,000 people or whatever that is too is pretty mind blowing, you know?
Yeah, it's insane. And just to consider that, when we started the band in the mid 90s, a lot of the festivals in Europe that you hear about nowadays, like the Wacken and whatnot, those were just like starting out, and they
Yeah.
were not that big. So it's grown a lot since then. And I mean, there's a stage for this kind of music now, and it's really fucking cool.
Oh, for sure. Especially like you probably were inspired by a lot of the bands that both of us grew up listening to, like the Bay Area thrash with, Metallica and Slayer and, all those guys. And to see them like specifically them really just open the doors for a lot of other bands, like you guys and Carcass and to see like what's happening in the metal world is I hope it's inspiring to a lot of the young musicians who are out there starting bands and trying to make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But then, every continent is slightly different as well. Like, especially in Europe, the festival scene has just exploded in the last, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. But I mean, you don't see the same trend everywhere. I think it's catching up a little bit now in the US, right? You got some festivals now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have we got? I don't know. We've probably got eight or so festivals, I think, and five or six of them are all the same people.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But what do we have now? We've Louder Than Life, Welcome to Rockville, uh, Aftershock, Incarceration, Sonic Temple, Not Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be playing in Daytona. There's
Welcome to
another one.
Rockville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a good one. That's the DWP people, the Danny Wimmer presents, and they also do Sonic Temple and Louder Than Life, Bourbon and Beyond, and Aftershock.
Cool. I hope we get a chance to play, more of those festivals in the US. That would be really good for the band, I think.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to
Yeah.
have you guys at Louder Than Life. I think you guys were there a couple years ago.
Uh, Not that I remember, but
Yeah,
but we'd gladly go there anytime.
for sure. Well, we'll have to get you there. I think who is it? Overkill. Overkill's at Sonic Temple, which I think that'll be a good Sonic. I like what they did with Sonic Temple is they put I think a majority of the heavy bands on one day, so you can just like go and get your heavy fix like out of the way. You don't have to deal with the whole weekend, you know?
Right. Right.
So what differences do you see between like European festivals and the festivals in the States?
Well, I mean, as far as festivals that we have played in the States, we haven't really played any one of these like really big ones, as far as I can remember right now. We played there was a festival back at Worcester Palladium in the early 2000s. What was that one called?
New England Metal
So-
Fest?
Oh yeah, we played that one. But that was strictly metal, wasn't it? It was not
Yeah.
like I guess some of these bigger festivals they have metal, but they also have other acts to like join the bigger crowds.
Yep.
And in Europe, there's a lot of like strictly metal festivals, obviously, but there's a few more different mainstream ones that we sometimes play. Like there's two in Germany called Rock in Park and Rock am Ring, and those are
Mhm.
basically kind of eclectic. You can get I don't know Rage Against the Machine or Tool can headline on one of the stages, and then you have a metal stage somewhere where there's more extreme metal bands playing. So it's kind of a mix. But in that sense, you don't get the same vibe as playing the main stage at Wacken. There's like 80 to 100,000 people there, and they're all there to hear and see some metal.
Yeah.
So it's all, but it's all good at the end of the day because festivals are all about showing the band to a crowd that normally wouldn't see us.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think that's a great thing about festivals is the ability to introduce people to new bands, because what do? They show up for, you know, predominantly, I would assume most people show up for the headliner. Um, but then well, you're going to go and you're spending, I don't know, what are they, $200 a day for some of those bigger festivals now. So like
Mm.
go get your money's worth. Go see a lot more bands. There are some killer bands that play earlier in the day.
Yeah, like uh, I forgot to mention that we played the Oshfest back in the day. This was in 2005,
Oh yeah.
and that did a lot of good things for us. It was like perfectly timed for the release of a Doomsday Machine. So yeah, that was great. But it was like, you know, we played on the second stage, and it was during that time they put the second stage on at 9 in the morning, and then they had like, I don't know, eight, nine bands playing up until 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
But no.
By which time the main stage would start. So
Yeah.
you were on like a kind of like a revolving schedule. Like we played 9 one day, and then the next day 9:30, and then 10, and it was it was it was a lot of work to get up early in the morning and stuff like and that. But it did it did a lot of good things for the band in America.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to think about it, like back then with them starting bands at 9 in the morning, whereas now I think gates typically aren't till like 11 or 12. So your first band is 12:30 or 1.
Hmm.
And if you're not in the front of the line, you're gonna miss that first band. You're like waiting to get in and they're up there
Yeah.
playing. You're like, son of a bitch. Uh,
The thing that made it okay was that, by 9 in the morning, I remember just like a mass of people just coming in, and it was always packed, even though it was early. So
oh, that's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like now, uh, I mean, we were at Louder Than Life last year, and I don't think many people were there earlier. We didn't really start seeing crowds until I guess gates were at 11. So probably like 2 or 3, we started seeing like the crowd really show up.
Hmm.
Hmm. So yeah, it's so weird to think about that, like how people interact with shows too. As
Yeah.
as as much as I love music and I try to go to as many shows as possible and festival setting. I've realized in the last couple of months that I'm at that age now where I'm like, if it's just a bill at a bar or like a show, I just want to see 3 bands. Like 4 is kind of pushing it. 5, I'm absolutely out at that fifth band. Like
Hmm.
I don't care who's headlining. If it's someone I really want to see, I'm gonna come later to the show because I I don't know, maybe I'm just old and like I need to go to bed, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, at the other side of the spectrum of that equation, uh, we played a tour called the Summer Slaughter tour in the
Yep.
US. This is probably like 10 years ago or something like that. And I think that the musical direction of most of the other bands was very different to Arch Enemy. And we were the headliner, and it was 8 bands. And by the time we were hitting the stage, it was getting kind of late. And with the eighth band on, and
Hey, Band Bill.
yeah, and some of those young kids that were there, their parents were waiting outside, so they had to go. But
Yeah.
well, it's all good now.
Yeah, so it is you do have both sides of it. So and it's funny to think about, it's kind of like growing up, you're born, you poop in diapers and then you learn how to go in the toilet. Then you hit a certain age where you're like, I'm just gonna poop in diapers again because I don't know if I can actually make it to the toilet. Like it's gotta be it's gotta be the same way with, obviously I feel like it's the same way with with music because when I was younger, there was, that I don't want to call it a curfew, but what my brain said, okay, you probably don't need to stay out any later. Like, okay, you know, it's so
Yeah,
weird.
it's tricky because when you put a tour together, you wanna have a good package as well. And but I understand like that putting that fourth band on the bill is pushing it to some people, but it might also lead to more people coming out. You never know. So
Oh, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
And I think that's that again, right? Four bands is for me, that's the max I really want to see on a bill. If it's like a five or a six band bill, I I don't really have a lot of interest to even go and entertain it because one, I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth, and two, I want to be able to actually enjoy all of the bands. Maybe it's because
yeah.
I'm sober now too. Like I don't drink before you have a couple of beers and it kind of keeps you in the mood. You're good to go. And now I'm just like, can I have another water, please? You know, like,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, man.
so in your years of touring, what are a couple of the bands that you like saw play that you didn't weren't a fan of prior to, but when you saw them play, they just blew your mind?
Uh, like a complete 360, I'm not sure if I ever experienced. But I remember just first time actually we went to America, we still had Johan Leva singing in the band. This was like in 99 or 2000, and we opened for Nevermore, which I knew by then, and I liked them, but seeing them live just blew my mind back then. And yeah, that's I don't know, but if I ever had a complete 360 though.
Yeah, it's still cool to see a band that you're familiar with and enjoy and them to just, play and you go, "Holy shit. Like this is so much better than what's on record," you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we're trying to make albums that obviously are as good as they can be, but it all comes down to if the band can deliver live. There's so much
Yeah.
trickery going on nowadays. You never really know if a band can deliver what they promise on the album, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's important for us.
That's that's good. I think, for a lot of fans out there, it's awesome to have a great record. It's the best thing in the world to be able to translate that, recording to a live setting. I I prefer live settings versus like, re a recording, but that's because I don't know, just a fan of like seeing the band interact on stage and how they interact with each other.
Yeah, yeah,
I would have
yeah.
liked to be at that what was that that Jane's Addiction show where they like clashed on stage and it broke up. I would have loved to have been there and seen that. Like,
That was not too
y-
long ago, right? That was last year.
yeah, yeah, just a few
Yeah.
months ago. Uh, I don't ever see that. So like to see that would have been like, oh shit, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean that's something that's exciting beyond the music.
Yeah, yeah. That'll definitely keep it'll keep the people all entertained.
I don't think we can promise to do something as cool as that, though.
Yeah, please don't. I don't think people want Arch Enemy to break up.
Live as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do it, you may as well do it on stage, but script it so you guys don't completely hate each other after the show. Leave, leave for something for arch enemy to get back together, and everyone go, "Holy shit, they're back together. I thought they hated each other." Uh, okay, Daniel, I know you've got a lot of other stuff going on, so I'm not going to keep you. I am going to say I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out and chat with me. I'll see you when you're on the road with Fit for an Autopsy.
Whereabouts are you right now?
So I am in Kentucky right now, and if I remember right, I'm probably remembering wrong, but I feel like you guys are coming through
Lexington,
Lexington. Yeah.
Manchester
Yeah.
Music Hall.
Yep. But that's not the Fit for an Autopsy run.
No, I mean that show was actually added on to the tour. That's we're playing with Guar
Yep.
on that show. It's,
Yeah, it was
it's gonna
like,
be cool.
yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Manchester Music Hall's a neat little venue. They just had Nile 6 Feet Under and Psychroptic there a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a killer show. Um, so I'll I'll see you there.
Yeah, man. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much for the interview.
Oh yeah. Have a great day.
You too, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
See ya.